What's the strangest thing you've ever come across while walking on a beach? This young woman was on a beach where she had come for a picnic, and while walking with her children, she came across the skeleton of a creature that looked like a mermaid because of its fishtail. Of course, she had no clear idea of what she had just found on that beach, and even the team in charge of identifying the fauna of the coast found themselves unable to give the creature a name. And if it was finally a mermaid, that would be quite surprising and hard to believe all the same. There have been so many sightings of mermaids in the past, and even nowadays that the net is full of videos showing these fascinating creatures in their environment. What if you were to watch them today? I'm sure you're dying to see mermaids for real, so get ready for this video full of incredible moments. But before we get started, images of the body of a mermaid on a British beach. A strange discovery that was made a few years ago on a beach in Great Yarmouth, England, has aroused the curiosity of everyone and continues to this day to make talk about it. On this beach, decaying remains of a bizarre creature were found washed up on the sand. If you have enough courage to see these images, here they are. At first glance, it was probably a mermaid, given the body resembling that of a human and ending with a fishtail. In this case, how did this mermaid end up on this beach? Well, we can think that she might have died in the water, and that her body was eventually washed out to sea after staying there for some time, enough to decompose. Obviously, these images that have made the rounds of social networks leave the mystery on the existence of mermaids, these mythical creatures that have always fascinated us. Scientists try to solve the mystery of a 300-year-old mummified mermaid with a human face and a fish tail. Did you know that there are even mummified mermaids? Let's go to Japan to discover a mermaid that belongs to a mermaid according to the legend. To know the origin of this strange mummy with a supposedly human face and a fishtail, we have to go back in time to the 18th century. It is said that about 3 centuries ago, between 1736 and 1741, this creature, which measures barely 30 centimeters, was found off the coast of Shikoku Island in the Pacific Ocean. Another source says that it was a mermaid that was caught in a fishing net and sold as a fish before those who bought it realized that it was actually a mermaid and decided to keep it. It is even claimed that it is nothing more or less than an object that was made at a certain period of time from the head and torso of a monkey and the tail of a fish. In short, the mystery continues to persist around this mummified mermaid whose true nature and origin are unknown. This does not prevent all sorts of stories being told about her. Well, for example, the legend says that whoever tastes the flesh of a mummified mermaid like this one will not die. But today, it is the turn of the scientists to be interested in this mummy, which is nowadays kept in a temple of the city of Asakachi. In order to solve the mystery of this strange and old mummified creature, a team of scientists from the Kurashiki University of Science and Arts has embarked on a study involving CT scan tests that will allow them to know the true nature of the mummy. What if this bizarre creature wasn't really a mermaid after all? We'll find out as soon as the results of these scientists' study are made public. Mermaids found on the beach. People have always been interested in mermaids and the question of whether or not they really exist. Of course, we are used to seeing these fantastic creatures in a number of film productions, not to mention the animated films and fairy tales that made us dream during our childhood. A real mermaid found in the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia. In the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia, a group of men, presumably fishermen, came across what looked like a large fish. As you can see for yourself on this video, these men are trying to pull the dead animal out of the water. But wait until you see the rest, because you will be surprised to find out that it is not really a fish. Even these men must have suspected something as they pulled this long, fat tail out of the water with all their might. But when they finally discovered the face of this creature, they couldn't believe their eyes. Look, it can't be a fish, can it? So what do you think it could be? According to the author of this video, it is a mermaid and a real one. So this is what real mermaids look like. Well, it's true that it's hard to believe at first, but when you look closely at the face of this creature with its unusual features, you end up saying that the author of this video is perhaps right. a mermaid-like creature filmed on the water along the Puerto Rico Canal. Have you ever been on a boat and suddenly seen a strange creature with a human silhouette swimming close to your boat? If you haven't, one young man has had this incredible experience. Morales Debbie was with his friends on a boat along the Isabela River in Puerto Rico when he suddenly noticed something strange appear on the surface of the water. Want to see it? Then look at these images. Like Morales Debbie, you probably had the same idea when you saw this. That is, you probably thought it was a mermaid, right? Well, what could it be if it's not a mermaid? And then, who could swim in these waters close to a boat and alone at that? A viral video showing a mermaid in the ocean. Let me tell you that the video you are about to watch right now is of a rare strangeness. Why? Well, because it shows a creature that has been identified as a real mermaid. This creature was spotted in the middle of the ocean and filmed from a distance by a camera. However, don't expect to see a beautiful young woman with long silver blonde hair or a beautiful mermaid with a colorful tail sitting on a rock. Get ready to see something less fantastic, even scary. Then, take a look at these pictures. So, this is what mermaids look like. The images are quite disturbing. Forget that mermaids are originally evil creatures. That's right. If we base ourselves on this myth, then these images are quite logical, and this hideous creature looks quite evil, doesn't it? But we still need to confirm whether these images are real or just a montage to fool people and confuse them. For the paranormal fanatics, it is obvious that these images are not false, and that they constitute a solid proof of the existence of mermaids. Do you agree with them? A mermaid spotted in the waters of Nigeria. A video taken in Nigeria made the news a few months ago because of a very doubtful phenomenon. In this video, we can indeed see a strange shape swimming nonchalantly in some stream very close to the surface before disappearing little by little in the water.
We used to talk of Mami Water, see, real life. Mami Water, inside Nigeria water, real life, see. She will come to the surface and...
We don't know where exactly this video was taken, although the few comments it has generated leave some doubt as to the true nature of this thing. For some, it was a fish, while others claimed that it was neither more nor less than a piece of plastic floating in the water. However, among all these comments, there are those who defend the theory of the existence of mermaids and who maintain that these images of mermaids are indeed real. A mermaid spotted in a river in India. Some time ago, a strange video emerged on the internet and then made the rounds of social networks and confused the minds of internet users, especially those who are very passionate about paranormal events and incidents. In this video, we can see a mermaid, and if we believe the content, the incident probably took place at the Musi River in the Indian city of Hyderabad. This city has been experiencing heavy rains for some time, and guess what happens next? Look at these pictures. You will be impressed. I told you that these pictures will impress you. It looks like the heavy rains that fell on the city finally chased this poor mermaid-like creature from its habitat. By the way, is this a real mermaid? From what we can see, there is no doubt about the veracity of these images, but we still have to confirm this because the most realistic among us will simply not believe it. A mermaid found in Egypt. What if we went to Egypt to make an interesting discovery? For that, let's head to the shores of the Red Sea, where an impressive 3-meter-long creature was found washed up on the beach. Check this out. Everything suggests that this marvelous and beautiful creature can only be a mermaid that had the misfortune to run around on this Egyptian beach. Unfortunately, the rescue team that came to the scene could not save the said mermaid who died on the beach. However, we were able to take some samples from this creature in order to know a little more about the cause of its death, and why not, about its true nature. The mermaid was even placed in one of the country's underwater museums so that everyone could see with their own eyes that it was indeed a mermaid and that it was not just a trick played to fool people. A man films a mermaid in the waters of a river. In this video of less than 2 minutes, you will finally have the proof that mermaids really exist, and you won't believe your eyes. The author of this video was in this river and had just dipped his camera into the water when he was suddenly struck by a very strange sight. Check this out. Wow, a mermaid tail. And just by seeing these beautiful scales with shimmering colors, we can only say that it was indeed a mermaid. We don't know in which part of the world this person came across this creature, but in any case, this video didn't leave anyone indifferent afterwards. Fortunately, this person had a camera to capture this magical moment. A tourist sees a creature resembling a mermaid drawn from the water. What do you think those two people dressed in yellow suits are doing in this park? They are two people who may be working for a laboratory, and they've come to collect some water samples from this lake in order to have this water analyzed to see if it contains some chemicals. Well, that's what you may think, but in reality, these two people are there for something else. The author of this video, a tourist who is at this place in Minnesota, was there when he saw these two people in yellow suits come in. Curious to know what they had come to do in this lake, he decided to film them and kept the camera active until he saw that something was coming out of the water. And he did it right. You will never imagine what these two people pulled out of the water. Look. But it's got to be a mermaid. Yes, you are not dreaming. These two people did pull a mermaid out of the water and took care to cover it. What do you think this all means? Do mermaids really exist? If this video has been widely viewed, not all internet users are of the same opinion. Indeed, some are convinced that it is a staging to deceive people simply. What about you? What do you say? A TikToker discovers a mermaid skeleton washed up on a beach. In the United States, a TikToker was on a beach when he came across a strange object covered in seaweed. But after picking it up and while he was clearing it of all the algae covering it, this young man couldn't help but let out an "oh" of surprise. It should be said, but what he had in his hands was anything but ordinary. Want to see it? Check out these images here. It looks like a skeleton. Well, yes it is, but who does it belong to? It can hardly be a fish skeleton, and then judging by the shape of the human head, well, we can say that this skeleton belongs to a mermaid, to a baby mermaid to be more precise because of its small size. Of course, the TikToker wanted to share with the internet users the images of this extremely strange and frightening discovery in the hopes of being able to solve this mystery. A mermaid captured by a fisherman? A few years ago, a video taken on board a fishing boat made the rounds of social networks and raised 1,001 questions among the internet users who watched it. It must be said that, indeed, this video shows something very strange that these fishermen had perhaps never seen or captured before that day. While they were out at sea fishing fish as usual, these men made an unusual catch. Look what it was. Now that's something to make your back sweat. What was that one-armed, one-handed creature that was among the fish in that fishing net trying to get out? Don't count on these fishermen to answer you because they themselves didn't understand anything. It must be said that the surprise was at its height when they saw this hand trying to free itself from the fishing net. No doubt frightened by this surprising discovery, they had no choice but to lower the net back into the water to free this creature. Unfortunately, they were not able to identify it. What if it was a mermaid? This hypothesis remains the most plausible, since the video was put online and then made the rounds on the web. Many years have passed since this strange and unexplained incident, but the mystery still persists and no one knows if it will ever be solved. A mermaid appears on a beach in Mexico causing controversy. And finally, I'll show you an image that has been making the rounds on social networks and has left internet users confused as to whether or not this image has anything to do with reality. Are you interested in leaving your opinion? Take a look at this image and tell me what you see. A mermaid that was found dead on a Mexican beach. Naturally, this image caused a great indignation in the large community of internet users, so that many of them were confused. Well, this image clearly meant that there was no doubt that mermaids really do exist, and perhaps have for a very long time. However, another category of internet users, much more realistic than the first ones, preferred to answer that no, mermaids do not exist, while others suggested that it was perhaps an object made in the shape of a mermaid. They were right, because it is indeed a mermaid that was made by a special effects team. Moreover, on this video, you can see how the model of a mermaid was made for the needs of the movie Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. This is more logical for the realists, but very disappointing for the others who believed in the existence of mermaids and who let their imaginations run away with them while dreaming of meeting a real mermaid one day. Now, tell us in the comments, Do you think that mermaids really exist?